one of the things that I absolutely love about the Google platform.
So you won't believe what ClickUp can do for you.
And Loom, when it came out, also was game-changing.
One of the things I really like about Airtable,
a revolutionary app, and has changed the face of AI as we know it today. And that is ChatGPT.
Our software stack that we're going to talk about, it provides robust solutions to ensure that our projects are executed with precision from initial ideation to final delivery, enhancing productivity, and of course, most importantly, meeting deadlines.
I'd love to see other small business, other folks getting their side hustle and turning those to real businesses. I think some of these tools can help you increase your odds of being more successful than the current odds that the Small Business Administration has. If you want magic to happen inside your organization,
you're listening to
welcome to What the Tech, your gateway to business strategies and tech secrets shaping today's workplace. Coming to you live and in person from the Blue Room in Loudoun County, Virginia.
The Blue Room. And you're live. Rolando, I don't know if I'm live or recorded, but I'll tell you, my room is white. I have a little blue accent light coming straight to you from southern New Hampshire. Nice to see you again, old friend.
Good to see you again. I know it's such a nice time right now. We're getting ready to roll into fall, which is my favorite season. And I can't wait for all the things that come. Also, it's my favorite season. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Are you a pumpkin latte guy? You like that pumpkin flavor stuff?
I haven't tried one in a while. Last
pumpkin
time I had
pie.
one was really good.
Just the color orange. I love everything pumpkin. I don't know what it is. I just love it.
Yeah, no, we've got a couple of pumpkin orchards out here. You go pick the pumpkins yourself, and my little guy, he loves going to these kinds of things where he can pick something and put it in the car and absolutely gets a kick out of it. And we got some of those around here.
Well, tis the season. Before we know it, we'll all be complaining about Christmas right around the corner.
Oh no problem.
Get in your orders. Get in your headset orders.
We'll get them all in for sure. At least we want to get people straightened out. So today, you know what, Dave? I'm really looking forward to today's show, where we're going to continue our series on operational excellence and share some insights on the software and platforms that we've found have been really good to us, to our essential to our teams and success over the years. And I guess if you're in business for over 20 years, there's a thing or two that you could share with folks that can let them extract some nuggets and get their remote teams going in the right direction.
Yeah, that's right. Listen, I guess I never really realized how important it is to have that right software stack, or as we were calling it, our tech stack. But hey, listen, before we jump into that, I just got to have a quick read from our sponsors. Hey, listen, are you tired of late night calls from clients and business partners disrupting your much needed rest? Well, listen, we know the struggle, especially if you're a salesperson or an entrepreneur or CEO. We find that we're using our personal cell phone number for work. But guess what? You don't need to do that. There's a solution that can help you reclaim your peace and also help you sleep better. Introducing Zoom Phone. I tell you, Zoom Phone is the ultimate game changer for professionals just like you. With Zoom Phone, you can seamlessly manage your online meetings and phone calls all in one place. Say goodbye to those midnight interruptions and hello to an uninterrupted slumber. Zoom Phone allows you to keep your personal phone number separate, ensuring that your work and personal life never overlap. It's all about finding that perfect work-life balance and boosting your efficiency during the day. But wait, there is so much more good news. Setting up Zoom Phone is as easy as 1, 2, 3, thanks to Global Teck Worldwide. They've got your back every step of the way, making the transition seamless and stress-free. Are you ready to take control of your nights and supercharge your days? Visit tech.global/Zoom to get started with Zoom Phone today. It's time to sleep soundly and work smarter. So don't miss out on this opportunity to transform your work-life balance. Visit tech.global/Zoom now. Back to you, Rolando.
Dave, that's awesome. keeping your communications right is the key. And we're going to get into that today. It's definitely one of those pillars that you want to have in your back pocket, framework, whatever word you want to use in order to make your virtual teams hum, right? So before we jump into our three pillars, there's a person I want to acknowledge and give big props. A friend of the show and a really good person all around, D Lane of Communication Ace. You know, she was helping me out the other day uh, through some things that I'm researching for a project that we're doing. And, you know, we've collaborated with her in the past. And that's one of the beauties of having this type of podcast is that sometimes guests become more than just a guest. You know, you get to collaborate with them on projects. You get to, you know, talk to them and refer things to them and you learn. And she really went out of her way recently with something that I was struggling with. And, you know, technology wise, just trying to get to how does this and this and this and this. And that's why she's a communication ace. And I want to give big props to D Lane. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Delane.
All right. So our three pillars. So the three pillars that we want to talk about today that are the backbone of our operation and that we've found are key for having a remote team or teams, whether they're hybrid or fully virtual like ours. We've distilled that down into three distinct areas. The first of which we're going to jump into is communications and collaborations. Those two things are not the same. They may be similar, but not quite the same. So let me give you what is communication and collaboration as it relates to teams. Collaboration and communication. This is the pillar and the backbone of seamless interaction within our organization. It encompasses cutting edge tools and platforms that enable real-time messaging, video conferencing, and document sharing, as well as fostering efficient teamwork regardless of boundaries. You know, Dave, we've got folks that are in different countries that we collaborate with, we communicate with, that we share, and some things we do in real time because we're all on at the same time, or sometimes we're not. We're in different time zones, and some folks are up later or earlier, but we still have a way of piecing the work that we're doing.
Yeah, and we're able to do it efficiently. You know, I think long gone are the days where everything is left in your email, right? Like, thank God we don't just have to rely on email.
Darn you, email. You know, Dave, you say email, and I cringe a bit because maybe 10 years ago, maybe I did cringe. Maybe not as much as today because things have changed and evolved so much from when I started this company over 20 years ago. Email was the dominant form to communicate if you weren't picking up your cell phone. And that really was kind of a new thing 20 years ago. So email was the thing. And along that, if we were to use email and go with that, one of the things that is key and from in the early days to still today is a platform that we use on a daily basis that's a core. This Bay Area company was founded in 1998 in Mountain View, California. It is known as Google. And more specifically, we use the Google Workspace, what used to be called G Suite or Google Suite. And I'm sure with time, that name will keep evolving because they keep adding new wrinkles, new features, new capabilities. And from being just search and sheets and docs to its latest iteration where they've actually incorporated the AI into the workspace feature, there's going to be a huge evolution around how work gets done more efficiently, more rapidly, less mistakes, less errors. And anybody that works in sending communications or documents back and forth can appreciate what they're implementing inside of all these different docs and sheets and meetings, as well as Gmail. Now you have the ability to use AI within Google. ChatGPT beat them to it early with the plugins, But now you can have AI built by Google help you write an email. And I think that's game changing. I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on OpenAI and ChatGPT. They're not going to go away. But I certainly think it changes the game for folks that are in the business space, is in education space, and in the government space that are real big clients or medium-sized clients of Google.
So I was prompted to try the AI within Gmail just the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I knew that they were going to be implementing that and letting that run. I didn't try it myself, so I'm not exactly sure, how that works or not. But I've messed around a little bit with AI with writing emails. It's difficult sometimes, I think, to get it within your actual voice and how you would speak, because that's how we want to convey the message. We're still forming relationships. We're trying to build trust. So we want the AI, if we're using it, to still speak within our own voice, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think we're in inning number one as it relates for users that are not the extra large enterprises with thousands of employees. A lot of these larger enterprises have had AI in the background or have had AI tools. But when it came to medium and small businesses, as well as individual users, these tools weren't out there until OpenAI's ChatGPT came on market, and we're going to get to them in a little bit. But they really changed the game. And Google is the granddaddy of all platforms when you're using things with Teams or using this remotely or for sharing. And I think that with time, as we move into the second, third, or fourth inning, I think the AI will allow you to write things in your voice. I know that today, ChatGPT allows you to put, with the paid version, some instructions around that. So if you wanted to have the tone of Gary Vee, or you wanted to have the tone of writing like Oprah Winfrey, that can be included on the output of the results of OpenAI's ChatGPT, and plus a lot more. They have an enterprise version that allows you to do things where it's doing some security and safety around your data, and where it's kept, and pulling and pushing it into different places. So we'll get to ChatGPT in a little bit, but I want to stay on Google because you know what, Dave? Besides the Google Docs, besides the AI, it allows you today to plug in so many different things. And no one software is going to do everything for an organization, because you may have a CRM that's different. You may have a communications platform that's different. You may store things somewhere else. You may have Calendly or Calendly. I hope I'm saying that right. Or different type of, you may use Miro boards. All these different tools that may exist outside of Google can now be part of that system, be part of that ecosystem, and all in one place, so that you're not doing a ton of context switching. So that if you're going back and forth today between Google and a separate calendar, or Google and Zoom, or Google and RingCentral, all of these things can exist together all in one place within Google with simple plugins.
And with context switching kind of being a hot topic right now, I think people are realizing, you know what, if we can keep people within a single app, it will help them stay focused so that they can do the task at hand. I won't make up a statistic. It seems that most of the businesses in our space, within the SMB space, we use Google Workspaces kind of as our, that's like the default. That's how that's how internal teams are communicating. That's what we're using for our email. That's what we're using for our cloud stuff. It's easy to use. It's all there, and it does exactly what we need it to do. And you know what? It's funny to say this, but I feel that because we do have a vastly dispersed geographical team of people, something as simple as Google Workspaces has kind of built our own internal culture, built our internal relationships. It's obviously it's business, but every now and then you can use that to put in a funny meme, a little GIF, some sort of an animation. And it kind of helps build some camaraderie. What I really like about it as a differentiator from communicating just via email is you can see the presence of your coworkers, whether or not they're online. And I think when we're sending instant messages or DMs through Google, it's it's more of a conversation. Like, hey, if you're available, here's a question. Can you help shed some light on the subject, whatever it might be? Whereas with emails, I find that a lot of us are dedicating a certain period of time within a day to go in and check emails. So again, it's still part of that. What's that term I just used? The content
context switching.
context.
Say that 10 times.
Say it one time.
Oh, there we go. Uh-oh, say that 10 times.
But I had learned a long time ago that what was it? Time management. Don't live in your emails, because if you live in your emails, you might just be distracted all day long. I'm probably getting a fresh email every 5 to 10 minutes throughout the course of a day. The people that are communicating with me via email, I believe that they realize that, you know what, we're not going to get an instant response from Dave. But when we're doing messaging through Google Workspaces, it's different. It's like, you know what, this is a quick answer. I can quickly get back to him, and whatever it might be. But again, I find a lot of businesses like ours are using this kind of as their default communication platform and collaboration platform.
No doubt. And Ori, hit me with pro tip numero uno for today.
Get ready for a pro tip.
One of the things that I absolutely love about the Google platform, because they have an Android device. I use Android as well. It works so well when you want to take shortcuts. Let me tell you what I mean. I use my device on the regular. It's with me wherever I go. And one small thing that's made a huge outsized difference is using the voice to text capability. So if somebody's sending me a chat or a text message or an email for that matter, just about any form of thing that gets sent to me as a notification, I can respond using the voice to text feature. It is so much better than it used to be years ago, where it made a bunch of errors. Now it's really accurate. It works even better if you have a headset with it, because it makes there's little room for error when your voice is being captured directly via the microphone, and it saves from having to be hunched like this, Dave. Oh my God, this is an awful thing to do all day long. Let me show you.
Yeah,
Because the thumbs and the forearms get, and I do work out, but my thumbs will get tired. But so I'll have my headset on. And I'll start. No, Dave. Boom. There's less tick, 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 and I really love that. So if you use your mobile a lot, you try out, give yourself, the hardest thing about that, Dave, is not the tech itself, it's the habit. If you're not into doing that, it very quickly falls out of favor because you don't do it. But the more you do it 1 day, do it 2 days, 3, 4, 5 days, and you'll realize, wow, I'm getting more work done. So that's a pro tip when you're using Google or any of the apps on Android with Google.
I'll tell you, I had someone send me a message using voice to text, and in the middle of it had a very strange mistake. And it was because the person that was talking to me was in a noisy area, and they weren't using a headset. They were just kind of holding it like this, and it had picked up some of the background noise, and it basically got transcribed into something that it was just questionable. I kind of lost the gist of what she was saying to me because of this little error. And I said, listen, are you using a headset when you do that? Because she was apologizing, and she said no. And I was like, all right, well, it's another pro tip. Make sure you're wearing a headset when you're using that voice to text.
Absolutely. We have somebody else that concurs with you. Isn't that right?
Yeah! Little John.
Hey, he agrees with you on that, man. It is some powerful stuff. So now let's continue talking about the communications and collaborations aspect. we can't do without this next thing that I'm going to talk about. It is like the rudder on the boat. This company was founded in 1999 in Belmont, California, USA. And as a pioneer of the VoIP world, it really came on the scene. 99, Dave? 1999 seems like 50 years ago.
I feel
But
like
in
it was.
99, they came out with their platform. And for us, when we were looking for a way to improve how we communicated both internal and externally, this platform was a standout at the time because VoIP was still at an infant stage back in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gave us the capability to communicate internally and also externally, and not having to have a physical phone system inside an office, which was the predominant way to communicate. If you wanted a communications system, you had to go buy it. You had to own it. You had to keep it. You had to maintain it. You had to upgrade it. You had to do all that.
Yep.
They were out in front with voice over IP, and that's RingCentral. RingCentral today is not what it was back then when we started, but it's evolved now to be a full-blown platform with video, AI with video, which we use all the time to record all of our meetings, full-blown transcript, SMS, which, by the way, is awesome because when clients call you or you call clients, it'll say Global Teck, or it will say the name of the company on their caller ID, as well as text messaging. So now if you replace an employee or you get new employees, it represents your brand rather than your personal phone.
Mm-hmm.
And you can keep both of those two things separate, which as you start growing, you're going to find the need. Okay, maybe I need call logs. I need recordings. I want recordings of videos, and as well as I want a summary of that video. And with the AI they've implemented in the background, it takes care of all those. No need for meeting notes anymore. It's a thing of the past. You can keep your own notes. But why do that? Again, it's about being efficient. It's about being as fast as you can be. And it's about having that information at your fingertips. And it does that and checks off all those boxes you need to be successful with remote teams.
I tell you, it's a huge game changer. I find one of the things that I love of RingCentral, and I could probably name 50 different things, but one of the things that I love about RingCentral is it stops the back and forth voicemail tag games.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I have RingCentral on my laptop, but I'm not always in my physical office. Sometimes I'm working somewhere else. Sometimes I just leave my office.
Mm-hmm.
I also have RingCentral app on my telephone. So, you know what? If I leave my office on the third floor, now I'm in the first floor of my home and I get an inbound telephone call, I don't have to run back to the office. I don't have to let that go to voicemail. It's right there it's on all of my devices will ring at once. So I'm able to take that telephone call, go about my business, not have to take a voicemail, not have to call that back. I think that's fantastic.
Wow, that's a wow. Isn't that right? What?
Well, I got one else for you, Little John.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I am taking notes, so this happened just the other day. We had a client that I asked him for his telephone number so that I could get back to him, or maybe it was his email. I forget. It was one or the other. And whatever I wrote down when I went to, that's what it was. I was his email. I sent him an email and it bounced right back to me. So I tried the email a different way, and I was frustrated with myself because I couldn't make out the note that I had taken. And I realized all of our calls are recorded. So I was able to go back into the recording. Again, it's right there. It's so easy to access. Listen to the phone call. Fast forward to the part where he gave me the email address. Oh, it was .net, not .com. So I was able to follow back up with the customer. So it just saved us a little bit of hassle. Definitely a frustrated customer turned into a happy customer, all because of RingCentral. So It's one
Yes.
of how long would you say we've been using the RingCentral platform, Rolando?
Easily 10 years.
Yeah, that's nice.
Easily 10 years. I would say, yeah, right around 10 years.
And then as you had mentioned earlier, the beautiful thing about Google Workspaces is that it plugs right in. So if I send, or you send, if anyone in our team were to send out a meeting on our calendar, we can bring that right into the RingCentral
right. It's
meeting.
there. It's inside the calendar. So every invite can go out and it's there so that the person getting the invite joins the video meeting without having to fish around for an email for that. And that's also the other beauty of Google Calendar is that you can integrate other communications platforms. So we have Teams, Zoom, and RingCentral integrated because clients, some are on Teams, especially when you're talking larger organizations, the people that are working there use Teams. And what I've found to be very useful, if you speak the language of the company you're dealing with, whether they're suppliers or colleagues or customers, if you're using the system that they do, they're more likely to more easily accept the invite, more easily get on the meeting. And in today's world where seconds count, your shop may not be a Teams shop. Your organization may not be a Teams shop, but having that ability to have it in Google Calendar so that a potential client that is using Teams makes their life easier.
That's right.
And that lends itself to less friction, which is going to get you that first, second, or even third step down the road when it comes to these clients and communicating with them.
Yes, sir.
So RingCentral, absolutely key to success. We have zero problems in recommending it. And if you're looking to use something like that in your organization, we'd be glad to help you out in finding the best plan or plans that they have so that you can get started with RingCentral as well.
And Rolando, the last part of our communication and collaboration pillar. Now, this is a tool that you recommended to me years ago. I use it I use it a couple of times a week. It is a huge game saver. Why don't you tell us about Loom?
This company was founded in 2015 in San Francisco. Seems like a lot of these companies are from the Bay Area. They are. It's crazy that so many are born there or headquartered there now. But Loom, when it came out, also was game changing in that I could record a video easily. That's the word, easily, and then easily share it because people do that, do things at different hours. And you have sometimes a need to be able to explain things with video, whether you're talking about a product, you're working on a project, or communicating externally with somebody that is collaborating, and doing that in a 2-minute video allows you to avoid endless email back and forth. And one of the rules that I have internally is if it's going to take more than 3 sentences to communicate an idea, say it on video, because you're going to save yourself as well as the person you're communicating with a lot of frustration. Because in video, you can see, you can show, you can also show docs now. You can have a screen sharing where you're showing exactly what the issue could be. I know we've used it extensively with support teams. So for Amazon, for example, for those that work with Amazon on Amazon support issues, you know that it is not an easy thing to do. It should be, but it's not always easy. And so being able to have a 1 to 2 minute video on here's the problem. I click here, 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 and boom, it all falls apart. Or I need you to see this. This is what I'm talking about. Let me circle it in the screen share. It saves a whole lot of frustration because now whenever they share it internally or forward that to an internal team, it avoids on that side of the equation going back and forth. And now your trouble ticket takes a week or 2 or even longer. And so having something like Loom is game changing for speeding up support issues, speeding up the collaboration, removing errors in communication. And for that, Loom is one of those platforms that we have internally in our tech stack.
Yep. Like you said, if you're trying to explain something on your on a website, on a project, whatever it might be, you can share your screen, you can record all of that together. I'll tell you, the old school way of doing that was screenshots. So you're making multiple screenshots.
Yes.
You may or may not have been naming those files appropriately. So the person that you're sending it to has 4 files that just say the word screenshot number 1, 2, 3, whatever it might be.
That's right.
And it was harder to communicate with screenshots. That's old school. That is yesterday. And I'll tell you, the value for the dollar, Rolando, Loom is where it's at. It's very inexpensive, saves a ton of time.
And also integrates into multiple platforms so that you can reduce, and I'll use that word again, Dave, context switching. If you could reduce people jumping in and out of applications, you've saved yourself and your organization tons of time and money. So Loom does interoperate or integrate to things like ClickUp, things like Slack, and a whole bunch of other apps as well, so that you don't have to spend time going back and forth as much. All right, Dave, let's continue this discussion, and we're going to jump into pillar number 2.
All right, Rolando. So as we dig a little bit deeper into our software stack, we're going to come into our second pillar that we call project management. So this is our project management pillar. Project management, I'll tell you, in our tech-driven world, is all about smart planning, task tracking, and of course, resource allocation. Our software stack that we're going to talk about, it provides robust solutions to ensure that our projects are executed with precision from initial ideation to final delivery, enhancing productivity, and of course, most importantly, meeting deadlines. So we're going to get into this right now. You won't believe how helpful this next application is. It's called ClickUp.
Mm-hmm.
ClickUp's an interesting organization. The company was founded in 2017 in San Diego, California, where they say it never gets above 76 degrees.
Beautiful place.
Beautiful place. Shout out! I got some family that's out there. I love visiting.
I love when they have down in that area, Dave. Friend of the show, Tim Ash, lives in San Diego.
I didn't know Tim Ash actually had full-time residency. I see every time I see him, he is somewhere new.
He was just in Brazil. So if you don't follow Tim Ash and you want to just nerd out on what is he called, neuropsychology around marketing, boy, he is the guy to follow on that. He's got some very interesting storytelling and how that works in the brain and how it's hardwired. So big props. Let's do this. Big props to Tim Ash. So Tim, say ciao.
Tim Ash, author of Primal Brain. We'll put some links below so that you guys can check it out. I don't know how many languages he has this written in, but I know it's more than one. Yeah, shout out to Tim Ash. So let's dive in quickly with the first application here is ClickUp. So you won't believe what ClickUp can do for you. So instead of keeping all of your information, stored in email, Slack, or chat, you can take your team of one or many within a place where you can kind of keep all of your projects together. It's essential for business. It's essential for hours that are involved with planning, managing, and executing goals. The huge emphasis here is on the execution part.
Absolutely. And that's where a lot of projects fall down. And Dave, I never loved the word project management. That it just seems, I don't know, it just doesn't, because there's so much that happens. And I would relabel that. This is just me, my feeling. It should just be called task management, because every project has many things going on, and there are things that aren't quite projects. Let's just say they're not projects, they're tasks. They're things that you do or actions that are required because somebody did something else. And that in itself is not quite a project, but it's a task. So if a customer tries to get in touch with us, or a patient tries to communicate with you, or you get a notification or an alert, that in itself is not a project, but those are tasks that can be tracked, they can be managed, they can organize your time and day and weeks and months just because some action occurred. Now, in the classical sense of project management, Dave, yeah, you may have a product launch team, you may have a engineering team, and they have subtasks or tasks that they're trying to accomplish. But I would wrap all these other things that are operational in nature into task management, or what is classically called project management. And ClickUp is a beast of a platform that can do way more than when we started working on it about 2 years ago. It really was kind of intimidating, and
Sure.
probably not for somebody that's got just one or two people under management. It's really designed for different departments as well as different teams. And those teams within themselves can be comprised of 2 or 3 people. But if you've got multiple teams, this is perfect, because now we can keep all those teams, especially if they're all working towards a goal and they all have a separate piece of the pie. It keeps all of those teams together working towards that common goal, rather than having bits of information on email over here, having something else in Slack, having something else over here where other people can't get visibility that are part of the project. And so it rolls all of these things up into one thing. You know, Dave, if we were going to give a pro tip, there's a couple that I wanted to give out. I think we're on pro tip número dos, Ori?
Here comes a pro tip.
Pro tip número dos. If you use ClickUp and haven't discovered the power of forms, what they call forms, this little trick will simplify so many things. You can create a form inside of ClickUp. And if you have another team member or somebody in another department where you're trying to, let's say, create tickets or want to put something that can be tracked, as well as emails that may come into that project or that task, you can make this very simple form, 3 or 4 fields, rather than the whole list of tasks. Your teammate or colleague or even department will get that form or that information. They can then fill in that information with whatever gaps that are necessary according to that team and whatever those goals are going to be. Now, the other part about this is that you can also put information that is normally put into this form. Let's say it's ticket taking, complaints, whatever it is. You can put that on autopilot as well. We recently uncovered a way to get emails into that task. So inside of ClickUp, there is a virtual email for every task. And so if you have external communications that also need to be part of this task, it can be lumped into that. And you can use that virtual email as part of your CC. So you're communicating with a customer or a patient or a colleague. This then, every time that email is generated, that virtual email, as long as it's in the CC, goes funneling right back to that task. But Dave, this is the part that I like more. Let me tell you what one of I just, I don't even want to say his name because I don't want people to pluck him out of our organization. Our internal programmer, developer / designer uncovered a way to make my life easier. And I think a lot of people, and I'm going to dish out. Ori, give me pro tip número 3.
Get ready for a pro tip.
I don't like emails. I really don't. I'm just going to put that out there. I've grown to like the instant communication, the seamless ability to talk and be on video with other people, since we've really, that's really kind of at the base of our organization. There's a way for you to stop reading every email and moving that into ClickUp for the folks that need to. So we get regular notifications, whether it's on Amazon, or other apps like Helium 10. And this could apply to any app. And you have one app that needs to talk to another. That information isn't shared cleanly a lot of times, and sometimes not at all. There's no way for app A to talk to B, and you're in the middle. And you're the one that's doing the back and forth because it comes on email or some other medium. Well, did you know that with ClickUp, you can take things that are in your inbox today, have those funneled back to the appropriate person using the form that I talked about or others, and then that gets filled in automatically for the person receiving it inside of ClickUp. So again, email, in my case, email came in. That email then gets pushed to another app that we're going to talk about in a little bit. And that app, Zapier, pulls that information and sends it off into ClickUp in a way that's formatted for the intended person who is normally responsible for that information or has to take the action. Instead of me having to go and ClickUp and fill in that form, decide what needs to be done, and then, somehow that all happens. But this is like a magical thing. I don't have to read every email anymore. We already have established that this type of email information regularly goes to person X. But in order to get to person X, we want to put it in ClickUp so it's tracked, it's managed. We can do follow-up and all kinds of other things. I don't have to go into ClickUp and type it in every single time. It does it for me. Saves me at least 20 minutes, if not more, every time I get some of these emails that pertain to me that I've been the one trying to decide on what to do. And throughout the day, I would say it saves me on average about 1 hour a day.
That's huge.
If you have, Dave, I know we just started doing this and,
right.
and our guy started helping me with this, and we're rolling out more of these types of, I'd say, things that we can put on autopilot. I can just free up my day not having to read every single email. Some are more important than others, but some require me to have an input in it. And this just gives me so much more time a day. And I know that we're just scratching the surface on this with this type of way of extracting information from email to get things from one app to another, then to the appropriate person that needs to take action on it without that other person. Because then, you know what, Dave? That saves me an hour, saves them at least 10 to 15 minutes filling out the ClickUp thing that on the task that they would do. So you think about, for me, about 15 to 20 minutes on that task. That other person, 15 to, no more. If you're in the keyboard economy, Dave, there's a lot of ways to cut down the number of times you got to pick this guy up or type in. And because that's just, to me, it's like wasted time. If I've got to let my fingers keep typing, I bet there's other tasks that I could do that are higher ROI. I'm going to get excited here talking about this. I'm getting really jazzed. I'm like losing my words.
The feature just came out, right? Is this a newer feature or is this newly discovered?
For us, it's newly discovered because, look, the more productive and the more efficient you can be as an organization, that's more profits in your pocket. If you're an entrepreneur, you want more dollars and cents in your pocket. You want more revenue. You want to squeeze out every dollar. You got to find a way to cut down those tasks that people spend time every day doing that can be put on autopilot. And so much of that, a lot of things that require a keyboard, if you work in the keyboard economy, there's a lot that can be extracted so that most of the thinking, doing, analyzing can be left to the human rather than just typing stuff in all day long.
Hey, listen, if someone was trying to sell me anything that could save me and my team an hour a day, I would be hard pressed to not want to explore that deeper. So with ClickUp, again, if you're running a team, you need some project management software. It's certainly something that you need to explore. Rolando, it sounds like you might be teaching a masterclass with ClickUp pretty soon.
Yeah, yes, I have to get our guy. Let's call him G. G, you know who you are. Big props. Big props to G. He is the mastermind of all things coding and was able to provide this. And now we're going to roll this out more and more within the organization as it's been a huge time saver for a few of the folks that we've tested this out with. So I'm sure if you're listening to this, it will also save you a ton of time as well as your teams. Imagine if we roll this out, 10, 15, 20, 30 people all in the organization. If everybody saves an hour a day, that's 30 hours.
Yeah,
Over a
that's
week,
huge.
150 hours. Over the course of a month, 150 times 4, 600 hours that would have been spent on typing. Now it's done, and it's done for you. And that, by the way, is not even without using ChatGPT. That's using Zapier that can do some things. So we're going to jump into that in a minute. So, but Dave, yeah, I'm pumped. I'm pumped about this because we're just scratching the surface.
Sure. Yeah, it's not necessarily the full automation, but it's that mundane task of entering from the email into ClickUp. That's the boring part of the fun
Right.
tasks.
You don't need to be paid $100,000 a year to spend a lot of time. And where did I read? I'm trying to remember where I read it. That a lot of our day, if you're in the keyboard economy, like you and I are, like something like 40% of our day is just the keyboard and typing and reading emails. And let's try to get that from 40 down to 10 so that we can then spend that extra 30 actually working on the project, actually executing like you're talking about, Dave, because that is where projects fall apart. I worked at Altria, which was known as Philip Morris, so the big conglomerate, international, largest tobacco company in the world. The thing that was the mantra inside of the organization was execution, 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 execution. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of the brands that they own are either one or two in their category. And it's been that way for years because it's the DNA. It's execute, execute, execute. So things don't fall through the cracks. Things don't fall apart. And there's a consistent flow of project iteration, design, sales, marketing, and executing on all of those plans, all the way from beginning, all the way through the end.
Right.
And ClickUp can help do that. And I wouldn't have believed it. I would not have believed that because we weren't using it. We weren't doing anything with it. But I can see how a lot less is falling through the cracks by keeping everybody on task. So task management is the word that I would use and looking at this from a holistic standpoint, rather than just project, like product launching and listings and different things like that.
Well, we're going to move into this next piece of software that we use within our project management pillar. And this application, this is called Airtable. It's similar to ClickUp in a way. Airtable, this company was founded back in 2012, also a West Coast organization. They were actually founded in San Francisco, California.
Bay Area, baby.
A lot of so many organizations out there in California. What do we like most about Airtable, Rolando?
This is big for our media efforts. So social media, content writing, video creation, video. It doesn't do the video editing, but helps with the phases of the video process, the different phases of the content creation process. It also acts as a database for a lot of that, keeping those things, the status of what these things are. And the other thing is that it can be integrated with other apps so that you can push and pull. For example, you can integrate ChatGPT into it. So if you want to have some content creation or you want to write things and you want to use ChatGPT, aka Eddie, we call it Eddie around here, Eddie can perform these tasks inside of Airtable. So if you're trying to keep written content in here so that other folks in the organization can use and reuse it, whether they be translations from English to Spanish or English to another language or another language into English, this does this very well. Lastly, Dave, I'm big on time saving. And so it can put other tasks into autopilot as well. So you can create notifications. So let's say you finish something it gets handed off to me for review. I review it, I update it, and it changes the status to ready for publication. And now it goes back to another team member who distributes the content. So it also helps with content distribution. So it can act as your central hub for everything content creation. And we're just, we don't use it for some of the other aspects, but for content creation, social media, distribution,
Right.
the process of getting content from A to Z delivered and put into the right places, it absolutely is like a Sheets on steroids. So Google Sheets is good, but it has its limitations. This allows you to do things in more graphical, in a more graphical manner, like graphics and images and things like that. That is not well executed on Google Sheets, right? So that's kind of what it's for. Using it as a database, repository, a hub, and a workflow engine, as I would call it.
One of the things I really like about Airtable is you can change the views. So we all have different tasks that are assigned to us. If you wanted to see a filtered view of tasks where I just want to see myself and someone else on my team, just want to see where we are with different projects, you can quickly build a filter, decide the view that you want to, or the layout that you want it to come down at, and have a real easy way to see kind of where you're at. So you can kind of easily measure where you are against your goals. We had a meeting recently and the question came up. It was, how many finished projects, I won't be too specific, but how many projects did we finish for whatever the goal might have been? We have to do 100 of these projects this year. We want to get 100 completed. And without a lot of effort, you can quickly see, hey, we are on track to meet or exceed our goals. And the other helpful part within ClickUp, the other helpful part within Airtable is when you have this, we have a large team. When you're making comments, everything is there's a history with every comment. There's a history with every kind of move of a project, where it goes from, step A, B, C. So we know kind of the last time somebody touched it. We can see the challenge or any notes that person might have had, so that we can go back, we can manage it, fix the problem if there is one, and then get the task completed.
It's great for that, because there's no like, oh, that person or I never got that. Well, I saw that you commented 2 weeks on it, so you looked at something, right? So it's a way to also keep folks accountable on what their role is within different tasks or one task. You know what? I do love something about Airtable that I want to give as a pro tip. So, Ori, what are we on? Número 5 or número 6?
Número 4.
Número 4? We are, okay, give me another pro tip.
Here comes a pro tip.
If you're somebody that has ideas and you want a centralized place to keep those ideas, and you want to do it in a very easy way, there's a ton of things you can. I've tried a bunch myself. I found Airtable to be wonderful. Let me tell you why. Airtable has a very good mobile app, and I have this device, this smartphone with me just about everywhere I go. And one of the most difficult things that you could do is try to keep all those tasks in one place in a coherent manner with dates and everything. The Airtable app is my best friend when it comes to the ideas. Like all of a sudden I'm somewhere and wow, inspiration hit me. Or wow, we should do this, or we should do that, or something we haven't tried. It's easy. It opens up the tab that I need. And within Airtable, you can make it as complex as you want. But I love the fact that you also make it very simple and very easy. And for me, I just click it. It goes right to where I need it. I just click the plus sign and I literally talk, and it takes, and it's in there. It's in the spreadsheet. And now the rest of the team can see that idea easily. They can all go there, and all the ideas are there. And I can go back and filter and sort based on the note that I put in there. But I love the fact of how easy it is to use on the mobile, and the fact that you can share those super easily, and that at any time you can come back and look for it with the different fields, if it's a video idea or a podcast idea or a work idea, anything that could be used, it's there, easy to, again, it's all about removing friction. And for me, it removed the friction from using other note-taking type of things, task-related things that aren't so much of the projects that are operational in nature, because our ops folks use something different. But when it comes to this, I absolutely love it. So check out the Airtable app if you haven't used it before.
So Rolando, so what you're sharing is that it's also somewhat of a brainstorming tool for you, or
Absolutely.
for us, I should say, because you can kind of
Absolutely.
throw it out there. We don't all have to get together. Everyone can kind of read it. It'll
Whenever.
turn the
Exactly.
gears a little bit. And then when we do all come together, we can reference it, discuss it. And it's not lost on like you said, it's not lost on just a note,
A piece of
taking app on your
paper.
phone or a piece of paper.
Yes. No, it's, and once you try it and you get yourself in a pattern of just doing it, it just becomes second nature. And that's really the most difficult thing with any of these apps, any application, any platform is the I haven't used it factor, or I'm not familiar with it, or I'm scared to use it. Once you take the first, second, and third time and use it in that way, it just becomes like, this is where I got to put this down. And so I reach for it, bloop, bloop, and in seconds I have it. And because the smartphone is almost always with most people, anything that can allow you to put your ideas into here will eventually gain better traction than if, you're writing it on a piece of paper. And then sometimes, it's redundant. I'll just put something on the note on it because that's it. But I almost always go back to here because I know I can go back and, yeah, I had that idea. What's there?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So moving on to the number 3 app in our second pillar of project management. You understand this one better than most people that I spoke to, Rolando. So I'm going to have you take Zapier. So tell us about Zapier.
This company was founded in 2011 in the Bay Area in San Francisco, California, USA. If I can channel one of the great announcers of all time, Michael Buffer. I love how he does in California, US of A. Okay, if you want magic to happen inside your organization, whether it's an organization of 2 people or an organization of 2,000 or more, Zapier is the key to getting more work done. You want more work done? You have to have or something like it. We just happen to use Zapier because it could make magic happen that normally wouldn't have happened. For example, we were talking about ClickUp. We were talking about email and other apps. When one app can't talk to another, usually the default is email.
Mm-hmm.
And email can clog up and get all kinds of stuff everywhere. But Zapier can take tasks that require brain power, require typing, require even communication, and can take multiple steps of things and shrink that down so that you don't ever have to touch it again. So it's like adding an army of workers to your organization. They never get tired. They keep working. They can take on more tasks. And you know what, Dave? The best part about this, it saves money and time to the organization. So at the end of the day, it can create a more profitable scenario for an organization. Because again, if we could take that 40% that's spent on the keyboard, reading emails and the like, reduce that down to about 10%, 5%. Now we have used our most valuable asset, which is the brain of every single employee, to work on higher level tasks. Our productivity jumps when we do that. So Zapier, let me just tell you, So if you do anything like logistics, anything with management, sales, accounting, shipping, it will remove the friction of these many repetitive and mundane tasks as well as complex tasks. So let me give you another example. We sell on Amazon, and Amazon communicates like there's no tomorrow. So there's a ton of alerts because things happen every single friggin' day on Amazon. And a lot of these alerts and notifications are sent via email. We use other apps as well that pull information from Amazon. And so now on one end, we have Amazon. On the other, we have applications, apps like Helium 10. And we also have our project management like ClickUp. It's able to connect the dots between those three different things that are sometimes in three different places and sometimes overlap because you may get multiple notifications on the same thing. They all come in the email and then you decide what to do. It will sort all these things out for you and say, oh, this is for our compliance officer. Boom. Send that to them. Although I'm copied on it, I may not be the one to take the action on it. It may be somebody else. And it will nicely and neatly sort it out and go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, 7 steps, get it to the person, fill out the form that that person needs. In this case, let's say it's compliance officer. She has the task already filled out for her in ClickUp. She never had to go in and start typing it in and, the note done for her. And now she takes the action that she needs and executes on those steps based on what we've pre-filled out for her in order to make sure that these steps, when it comes to some compliance notification, they get taken care of. Absolutely love it. And we do a whole lot on the back end with logistics. We allow multiple warehouses and all their different systems to roll up into our centralized database. And you know what? We get a nice, consistent bit of information from all these different locations, all these different partners, all these different suppliers. So from a logistics standpoint, it is wonderful. I can't say enough about it because it really is the key for scaling an organization. You want to scale, you want to grow, you want to try to really use those resources, Dave. I think every organization is under pressure to be profitable. Something like 50% of business, according to Small Business Administration, 50% of all businesses go out of business at year number 5. Part of that is that it's very difficult as a startup to manage cash flow. And it's very difficult, depending on the industry, to get to profitability. And the key is to get to profitability as quickly as possible. So one way to do that and reduce expenses is by trying to put as much as you can on autopilot. And depending on your project, depending on your task, depending on the industry, there's a lot. Again, if a lot of work is done on this device, this keyboard, there's a lot that can be cut out in terms of the fat. I'll call it fat because we can cut out a lot of tasks from the people that are valuable to your organization so that they can spend more time producing rather than keyboarding, Dave. I'll call it keyboarding. So Zapier, you can get developers to help you there. There's all kinds of organizations that work around there. We've developed our own way of custom apps and things like that. So I highly recommend it. It's got to be in your toolkit. Without it, you're at a disadvantage as an organization, especially if you're a small business. You want a leg up, you need to have somebody in your organization that is working on your behalf to create these things that can be put on autopilot for you. The more you do it, the sooner you do it, the more profitable you'll be.
So, Rolando, with these project management software applications, it can be somewhat overwhelming to business owners. Where do you suggest they look first? You can't look at all of them at the same time. So if you had to start with one, which one would you start with?
You got to go after the low-hanging fruit. And I'm going to give big props to a friend of mine. Big props to my friend Chad Rubin, who is doing a heck of a job with his new venture called Prophecy. He years ago said, you have to look at what you do on a daily basis and somehow keep track of it. Either record yourself or making notes. Do that for about a week. And you'll find where you're spending most of your time on. And once you do that, then you have the information because you're not always aware of your own actions. But once you have a way to look back on it, you're like, geez, yeah, I spend like half my time doing email, the other half on phone calls, the other 25% on other things, then you know where to go. And for a lot of people, that's going to be inside your inbox. The inbox is the place to look. For me, that's where I look first to try to cut down these tasks. Then, are there things in other apps that we just can't get? What if we could get? And that's always the question. What if we could take this thing and move it over here where we need it? That's the other piece where some of this magic happens. How can I get this data over from here to here? If you're asking yourself and you're saying to yourself, I wish I could, and filled in, I wish I could. You probably could do it right now with the help of Zapier. It could help you fill in that blank. I wish I could send a notification every time to my patients when these series of events happen. 1, 2, 3, and it could be very complex in some cases. It could be 10 steps. I want this to happen, but only if it's on Monday. But if it's on Tuesday before this time, but I want it, and then I want that to go to. It can be as complex as you want it, as well as simple as you want. But the first thing I would do, check that inbox. I guarantee you there are things that you're getting on a regular basis that require some action. That's the low-hanging fruit. The second part would be I wish I could allow this to happen over here and that be connected. That's the second place to go, where you're going to then find even more magic, because then you're going to uncover, like, wait a minute, we could do that. What else what could we do? Right? What other things are we wasting time on that something could just do this for us and generate X, generate a form, fill out a notification, all these other things. And, I every year I feel like, why didn't we know that? Why didn't somebody tell us that? Why didn't we do this thing sooner? Right? I feel like a dunce sometimes, like, boy, we're freaking idiots for not knowing this. But that's kind of just what happens as you start, asking yourself that question. What else can we do? What else can we do? And that's really kind of, for me, I'm kind of a curious person. I want to know, what else can we do? And I'm always asking G, hey, G, can we do this? Is this possible? And then he'll come back and tell us, boss, this is going to take some time, or this is going to be an hour of my 2 hours, 10 hours, 3 days a week. Then at some point you start getting into these really complex projects that take more time, that aren't an hour or two. And then you start making determination, especially if you're using an out. There's companies that do this. Big props to folks like at Data Automation that do these types of projects as well. You start determining, is it worth the money? And for us, on the larger, more complex projects, it's all about how fast can we get the ROI? So let's say a project costs $10K. If we were already spending $10K a month to do the things that we needed to do because of this automation or putting these things on autopilot, and month number 2, we already make up our money. It's a no-brainer. But then if it's going to take, let's say that project or tasks were about $1K a month, then we know, okay, in 10 months, that's when we're going to recoup our money. Is there something else that we can get a better bang for our buck sooner or faster? And if the answer is yes, then we go to that. If not, okay, maybe we lower it in terms of priority to move into the things that are more ROI or better ROI producing. But that's how I would look at the spectrum. Low-hanging fruit, inbox. Number 2, I wish I could X. And then number 3, what are those higher, more complex tasks that maybe require 20 steps and a lot of and more logic, if and or statements? Those are then the ones that ultimately have big payouts, but also require a little bit more hand-holding and a lot more well thought out plan in order to get that done. And we've done several of those, especially on the logistics side. Never simple, never easy, lots of moving parts. But at the end, when we're finished with those big logistical complex tasks and put those on autopilot, have big payoffs.
So to wrap up our second pillar, so for the project management pillar, our software stack, ClickUp, Airtable, Zapier. Hey, Rolando, you did a great job bringing some of these applications into the team. I know it saves us a ton of time, helps us be successful, helps us put out some quality work. I'm glad. I'm very impressed with the people that you've worked with in the past and some of the advice that has been shared back and forth. Without that, we probably wouldn't have some of the success that we're having.
No. And, it isn't glamorous. There's nothing glamorous in doing automation or putting things on our pod. There's nothing glamorous about doing back-end projects on ClickUp. Nothing. Zero. But this next part is a little more of the sexy part. This is more of the glamorous part. This is what people actually see. A lot of times if they're following us or checking our content out on social media. And that is our third pillar, and that is content creation. So let me tell you how we define content creation. It empowers the team to create captivating and visually engaging content efficiently. And we use a suite of tools that are for graphic design, video editing, content scheduling, and those tools amplify our brand's presence through the use of storytelling within the digital realm. So that's how we look at content creation and one of our pillars. In the first company, Dave, that we have to let people know, what do we do? We know right now we're recording this on StreamYard. StreamYard is a company that was founded in 2018 in Philadelphia, PA, USA. And it does more than just record video. It allows you to do it easily. It allows anybody from the CEO all the way down to the most techie person in the organization to record video, whether it's solo, whether it's with one guest or many guests.
Mm-hmm.
And it also allows you to easily stream out live content through multiple channels. And that for us was really the key at first when we were, how can we easily stream live to YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and others all at the same time? And StreamYard was the answer to that. The second thing here is that StreamYard is extremely reliable. Now, we've tried other platforms, a lot of other good ones, but what we found was that the consistency, the uptime availability, along with the ease of use, again, a stress ease of use here, it gives you the best bang for your buck. So if you are in the content creation game or you're trying to get into it, it's relatively inexpensive. As of this recording, the parent company of StreamYard was bought out by RingCentral. So at some point, we may see some changes to StreamYard, and hopefully, I'm hoping, because we use RingCentral as well, see that integrated into RingCentral in some way, shape, or form. I have no idea. I'm just speculating. And that way, the RingCentral and StreamYard platforms will be unified, and there'd be a way to use and move information between them. That would be gold, because RingCentral has that AI component on the back end for transcription, reading, and a whole lot of other stuff. So, I'm excited to see what happens here with RingCentral in the coming months.
You bring up a good point. I watch a lot of B2B podcasts, and I tend to find that there's a lot of folks that are just kind of streaming a Zoom meeting. So when you incorporate something like StreamYard, you can just elevate that to the next level. Makes it much,
yeah.
I don't think podcasts should necessarily look like just a meeting, and I think I'm pretty sure you and I may have started, in that world, kind of just making it was just a meeting. That's just what we had. We were able to kind of break out of that a little bit, but I'm seeing a lot of businesses that are getting into the live streaming media world, content creation. They're kind of they need to be exposed to some of these other tools like StreamYard, because it's just coming off as a webinar. And I
Right.
think what we're doing is what we're trying to accomplish is more than just that webinar feel and look.
Right. And I can't remember who told us, but I love this phrase that um, video is the new calling card or the new business card. So having video that's just beyond a Zoom type of thing, where it's just you and a laptop looking up your nose, you have a better image, whether it's on the video and the audio. Like I have this microphone, it just presents your brand in a better light. And if we were to steal Chris Voss's methodology on the last impression being the lasting impression, not so much the first impression is good. He says first impression is good, but the last impression is the lasting impression. So if the last impression a client, a patient, a colleague, somebody in another department has of you is what they see on screen, they're going to be like, yeah, they're going to remember you a little bit better.
Sure.
They're going to have a little bit better impression. You're interviewing for a new position, a new job, or whatever, or interviewing other guests. We've had a lot of guests think that, we have some really high production, but it's basically we do have somebody in the cloud helping us. Ori, he's our producer here. And he does a lot of all these wonderful graphics, and this is all within StreamYard. So like the pro tips that we've had on today and others, and putting you would normally in the past, and he's a video and audio specialist. You really needed a high end system software that like OBS for those that you have a lot of these elements in StreamYard. So if you're using OBS, it's wonderful. It does a lot of stuff, but for many people that are scratching and getting into the content game, this is a good entry point, and more than a good entry point, Dave. It does a lot, probably 90% of what you're going to need when you're streaming live or recording and then handing that video off in post-production to an editor.
All right. So talking about post-production, let's get into our next app here with our content creation pillar. And this is called Canva. Canva, this company was founded in 2012. They're actually based in Sydney, Australia.
Yeah,
right around the corner, down under. Down under. Now, Canva's also gone through some changes in the past, but if I was to summarize Canva, it's where you can get your digital assets. Right. Your B-roll video, your different images, music, sound effects.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
Well, things that you would use for posting on social media. Just about anything that, whether it's an infographic, whether it's a slide deck. There's a lot that you can do in Canva that you couldn't do 2 or 3 years ago. And Dave, I will also add something I saw this morning. There's a new plugin for ChatGPT that's a Canva plugin. So you can ask, and you can type it in. Once you have this, you have to have the paid version of ChatGPT right now.
Yep.
In order to take advantage of this. And it will bring up, you want an image of X. I want you to create I want an infographic for Black Friday. It will create an infographic or several, and then a link appears inside of ChatGPT, and it will take you automatically to Canva. So if you want to do further editing, you go straight away. So it's really seamless, and you can customize it. So Canva can do a lot for an organization. I love the simplicity. I know a lot of folks in our team use it for different things. And it just levels up the game, whether you're doing a presentation and using it for slides, or just looking for a very inexpensive way to use multiple media in one app so that you can then deliver that content over online or to clients or that kind of thing. It's really, really powerful.
Yeah.
And what it could do for you.
Oh, and it's so much fun. You can really unleash your creativity, using Canva. So Canva's been a very helpful tool for us here at Global Teck. Think about it like Adobe Photoshop, but much easier to use. Adobe Photoshop, if you've ever used it, it's very complex software. What we use Canva for here is somewhat of a substitute for Adobe Photoshop. We use it for our social media posts, product images, slideshows, presentation, graphics for thumbnails, and things like that. It's a very helpful tool. Our editors use it on a daily basis, and I'm not too sure we could be pumping out I'm not sure we'd be able to pump out the quality of our content without using a resource like Canva. But after Canva, Rolando, now we get to go into the real fun stuff, and that's our editing software.
This company, founded in 2017, San Francisco, California, USA, has revolutionized video and audio editing. Prior to that, you really needed to nerd out and be a video editor or an audio editor in order to really dial in the audio to make it sound rich and clear and crisp. You really needed to have years of experience in video editing to get something that looked professional. Well, what Descript did was made editing easy and fun, because now you can edit video using the words or the transcript, and it will not destroy anything. Things won't crash on you. And you can basically edit it just by reading the transcript, which anybody can do.
Yeah.
And it does it in a way where when you're splicing things or cutting the text out, it'll make sure that those words, the next words, all match in a seamless way. Now, I got to tell you, Dave, I've played around with it in my videos that I've made myself. And the more I've used it, the more comfortable I've gotten. But that's been what I like about it.
Sure.
I'm not a video editor, but I can kind of, what's that word, everybody? You can portray yourself as a video editor, or I'm trying to think of that word. Jesus, slipping my brain. But you can create videos with high impact that don't require a lot of knowledge on how to get it done. It can be very simple, but very stylish. You can go very deep in there and create a lot of graphics. You can create motion. You can do things now that use AI to clone your voice. So we've played around with this. And as you build out a team, and we've got a team of folks that all are using Descript, there's things that don't always require me and you to be on camera, Dave, which is so wild. They can go back in and correct a mistake. We fumble all the time when it comes to creating video, and Descript can make you seem like a genius many times. This is one of the best parts about it. You know, when we talk, we have like a conversation, but when our editors go back in and edit, they can make a long, awkward pause, go away. And
wondering where you were going to go with that one. I didn't know how long you were going to hold it.
A long drawn out things for emphasis. When they go back in post, if they want to take that part out, they can easily take it out, because you can go by words rather than the video, called the video timeline. I'm amazed. And last, about Descript, I love how it really enhances the audio piece. So if you're really doing traditional podcasts, like the audio type of podcast, and we do those as well as the more video log or vlogs, it just brings out this voice that you can tweak, make it seem richer. If you got background noise that's distracting, it will cut that down using AI as well. So, and again, all of that happens with a click of a button. That's what's amazing, Dave. You had to be an engineer and understand the audio frequencies and the equalizers. You don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
And so the fact that this is something that a marketing team can do, an intern could work in this, somebody that's outside of the company that you hired, a freelancer could use. A lot of freelancers use Adobe, the more experienced folks. But we've converted one of our editors to start using this, although he had a little resistance. Ain't that right, Ori?
Yep.
He was a little a little hesitant to adopt this, but it has a lot of value because, in editing, there's so many steps.
Yep.
Those first 5 steps can require a lot of brain work on where to put things, where to sort, what to cut out. That part of editing can be done so much faster and easier than before.
So if you're a business owner and you're looking for ways to edit video, and it can be a daunting task for sure, check out these scripts. If you can edit an email, if you can edit text, a Word doc, you can focus on the messaging within the document itself. So within the words that's all typed out for you. When you edit that, the video syncs up with that. So you can take so you don't have to worry about syncing up video and the word spoken or the audio. So the video and the audio are always kind of connected. You manipulate the text, the video goes along with it, and it just makes it super simple. And then, like you were saying, you can get a lot deeper into that. Descript, you have the ability to add, the fun B-roll, the sound effects, text going over, maybe some video there, whatever it might be. But again, if you're in a business and you may not have access to a full-time video editor, you must check out Descript. It will blow your mind. You'll fall in love with it. You might have a little too much fun with it. You can take projects.
I like that part there that we showed on screen. The ability to also use this as a screen share. You can record other things like Loom and Dub, and this allows you to take screen sharing educational content to the next level instead of you recording just, camera and kind of here's what we do and instructional. This allows you to elevate that whole either instructional videos, educational videos, product videos, things that normally were very complex. You could do it very easily. You could also use this for collaboration. That's the other part that I like about this, Dave. So an editor can go in and do something, or you can do a project and you can have a teammate or a colleague or somebody else that is editing come in and put comments on different parts of the video, and you can go back and forth with these instead of having to drop something in a drive and a Google Drive or a Dropbox folder.
Right.
You can collaborate on the video, so that reduces the amount of time a video needs to get out and published.
If you're messing around with video and you don't have Descript, you're missing out. Make sure that you check this out.
100%. Now, Dave, let's roll into probably the thing right now that's consuming more social media posts, airtime, and the rest. Let's jump into AI. Now, this app launched in 2022 in San Diego, California, is what I would say a revolutionary app and has changed the face of AI as we know it today. And that is ChatGPT. When it came online, it became the fastest growing app ever until it was surpassed by Threads in terms of its consumption and the number of users that use the app within a month. Now, why do I think it's revolutionary and game-changing and forever going to change our lives? Because anybody that works, again, if you work in the keyboard economy or not, you will be impacted by what generative AI can do and will do in the future. Just months ago, we did not have the ability from a generative AI to easily create videos like deep fakes that were really hyper realistic. That's available today.
Yeah.
And what ChatGPT has done to the industry, and this is kind of where I'm going with this, it's changed it. Google had AI. IBM had AI. Microsoft had AI. Amazon had AI. But they really did not unleash it on the public and in the hands of the everyday citizen, as well as businesses that are small and medium business. that really was kept for the enterprise, machine learning, and you really had to pay for it because it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT saying, we're starting this off for free. And boy, they were burning through a lot of cash. Microsoft got in and backed them and gave them more money. Microsoft put it into their ecosystem. Now Google is doing the same. Amazon's announced that IBM is also unleashing Watson in terms of what it's going to be doing in the generative AI. Metaphysics.ai, which is really pioneering the deep fakes with the deep Tom Cruise. Holy smokes, our whole world has changed. You want to be somebody else? You can be somebody else with AI. But specifically ChatGPT, what we have found, it is great for brainstorming. It is great for helping you write blogs. It is great for script writing, as well as generation of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Today, Dave, it doesn't get everything right 100% of the time. But that's why a human still needs to be at using this capability. It is a tool, right? It's a tool, but it has a way of revolutionizing the way you work so that the ideas can flow faster. Reviewing of documents. We've done this as well. Hey, I want you to review this policy. Where are the pitfalls here? How does this policy apply to our situation? And that's when you start uncovering some magic with something like ChatGPT, because then you realize, especially if let me give you an example, an Amazon seller. Let's say somebody leaves a bad review, a 1-star review. You can tell ChatGPT, I want you to review the Amazon policy around reviews and see if this review, this 1-star review, is non-compliant with the policy. Now, it can determine that real quickly and give you some things around that. No, or this does not violate the Amazon review policy, or if it does, it gives you the reason why, because it can analyze and put the information together, and now you have a valid way of saying, according to policy section 1, part 2, this review is not compliant with the Amazon review policy.
Mm-hmm.
And so now as a seller, if you're somebody that's selling in this case, you can submit that to Amazon and say, hey, based on section 1, this review is not compliant with the policy. Now you have a greater chance of getting that 1-star review removed based on solid evidence rather than just, I don't like it, right? Because there's a lot of things we don't like that people post online, but we can't get that removed because it's still compliant with the policy. So Dave, it's changed that part of the game for us.
Oh, for sure. Using it as an analytical tool has also been very helpful, right?
Indeed.
So we can take you and I have done this. We've had sales calls with clients, and we've entered those notes into ChatGPT, so we can just analyze the tone, provide us with some strategy, help us really identify the client's main challenges and what they're trying to accomplish. So it's not a cheat code. I think a lot of people think ChatGPT is writing all of your emails for you, and I know that people use it like that, but I think that's just grazing the surface. Using it as a brainstorming tool. Give me 30 ways to say this. Act as this. Give I like what you do, Rolando. You say provide it in a table form or whatever it might be, so that it's easier for us to read it. But man, it jump starts brainstorming sessions like nothing else we've ever tried.
Yeah, because the hardest part is step 1. Especially when we're doing ideas. And here, give me 10 ideas on how to best create automation. I'm just throwing that out. And it'll give us 10, and 2 or 3 we didn't even think about, right? The 8 we already knew. Oh, those seem interesting. Let's talk about that. So it really pulls in ideas that maybe you weren't thinking of. Something else, Dave. So what I've noticed with ChatGPT, So this is why we call it Eddie. Look at me fumbling my words. ChatGPT, aka Eddie, here at Global Teck Worldwide. It now has an app on the Android store. There's a limitation there. Right now, you can't use the plugins. So if you're a premium or paid user of ChatGPT, you really want to take advantage of plugins. I love the plugins. They help with, reading a transcript, reading documents that are on the web and analyzing them. You can't really do that on the paid version on the Android, but there's a workaround. If you open up your browser on Android, then create a shortcut on your home screen. Now, you have a way of accessing those plugins. As long as you have those plugins on you, if you put it into your computer on the browser and they're already there, you can come back wherever you go, traveling, on the road, at home, wherever. Just hit that browser shortcut that's on your home screen, and now it'll open up the desktop version, and now you have the ability to access those plugins. And for me, that's really unlocked a lot of valuable, like I get an idea and I want you to analyze this, but I want you to analyze this document on this website. You can't do it in the app version, but in the browser version on your mobile, you can do it because it will access the plugins that are on the back end. So pro tip, use the browser if you find that the plugins are unavailable inside the app. That's the browser on your mobile.
Rolando, I got to tell you, man, you've just started using ChatGPT. It's been a year, maybe even a little less than a year. This is going to bring us into the next dimension.
Look, I just heard recently somebody on one of the business channels talk about, we had the internet that revolutionized things. People now can communicate and see things instantly. We had the PC or laptop that everybody could take home, which was basically your computer that was sitting in the office. You could take it home with you. We've had the smartphone revolution, especially with the iPhone, change the game. This is the next thing. AI in the form of generative AI in the form of machine learning. And when all of these tools come together, I think for us, what I'm really excited in looking at in the future is then the predictive models for machine learning and generative AI, and what will happen if I do this, and then how does that project itself into the future, like giving me probability of events that could happen based on X. Because as a business person, if I have in front of me, CIA does this all the time. What are the probabilities of X? So based on that, then what's the intelligence and what's all these different things? And then they take action missions around some of those things. That's what I am really looking forward to. That will be available in the fingertips of business people, decision makers, so that you can make the best informed decision on all these trillions of data points, rather than just a blip. Here's a notification. A notification alone doesn't give me anything. But if you can start filling in the blanks with probabilities of what is going to happen or what isn't going to happen, now I can make more informed decisions quicker. And that is exciting to me. I want to be able to make decisions quicker and place the chips sooner than my competitors. And if I can do that, I'm going to win most of the time.
Pretty cool, Rolando.
Yes, I'm jazzed. This is an interesting time to be alive for so many reasons. There's a lot that we can be sad about, because there's a lot to be sad about. But I think for a lot of people, this can be a way to, whether it's a side hustle and you're using ChatGPT or AI for that matter, you can grow this into from side hustle to a business. And what is about to be unleashed from the generative side, it can also help businesses like ours be more efficient, be more lean, help with productivity, help like a worker. Like we use ChatGPT like a junior business analyst. Yeah. He is also a semi coder. He provides code. he or she, it provides a way to get to the finish line faster. That's the way I would say. If I'm because I'm a sports guy, how can I get to that finish line faster? It gets you there much quicker than the rest. So for those that don't adopt ChatGPT or some form of AI into their workflows, into their business practices, you're going to find yourself not as close to the finish line as those that are using it because they're getting there a lot quicker.
I'm wondering if the sports betting community is using ChatGPT, some of the newest version of that, to kind of help predict who might just sporting outcomes, game outcomes.
Well, that's I mean, you look at what I don't know what they use, but you take a look at just on face value, the commercials for like AWS and the NFL. This has a 10% probability of being a touchdown if it's 30 yards out and it's this receiver. Those types of numbers and statistics, they're out there. It's just a matter of using them. And I would place a bet that Vegas and other booking places are using some form of that to maximize their dollars.
I wouldn't be surprised that, we're like, everyone's using it a little bit differently. Everyone's talking about it. I love when I'm hearing conversations when two people come together from different organizations and they're sharing how they use it. And I'm telling you, it's if you've only used it for certain things, talk to other people that use it, find out how they're using it, check out a lot of the content that's out there. We've done some content. We'll probably have to do a deep dive within ChatGPT at some point.
Yeah.
It's just the most amazing tool to come along since the smartphone.
Since 100%. 100%. Big props to OpenAI for taking that risk because it was a big gamble to give this away for free. Now they've, have a premium version. Nobody wants to give anything away for free. If you're in business, you're in it to make money and make profit. And it's looking like they're here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So big props to them. So let's do a recap, Dave, on the pillars, right? Pillar number 1, we talked about communications and collaboration. They're not the same thing. So when it comes to collaboration and communication, our favorite go-to tools are Google Workspace, part of the Google family, RingCentral, which is an all-in-one platform for communications, video, audio, text messaging, artificial intelligence in the back taking notes for you, and Loom. Loom is great for recording videos that you need to send, as well as comments. It does some editing and also has a little bit of a transcript capability in there, but it's a great and easy tool that anybody could use, whether you're a pro at video or somebody that is really afraid to get on camera. Loom will help you create very easy videos. Dave, you want to take a stab at number 2?
Yep. So our second pillar in our software stack is for project management. We're using ClickUp, Airtable, and Zapier. So ClickUp is for task management, working with our team to communicate where we are with certain projects. As is Airtable, a way where we use Airtable more on the some
media
of the
database.
Yep, our media database with Airtable, so that we're able to kind of keep track of where we're at with different projects, who has the next task to complete this particular project, and then of course Zapier being somewhat of the glue that's holding a lot of this together.
Yes, indeed. And our third pillar is our content creation pillar, where we use a platform like StreamYard to record our videos, to do our podcast interviews, and more, because it's so easy to use and very reliable. And that's the key. Easy and reliable. That puts you into the driver's seat. Along with that, we use Canva to support our graphics, our infographics that we create. We create thumbnails, their product images and lifestyle images. We use Canva. Again, another common theme here, ease. Anybody could do this. and they can jump in and start creating graphic and digital assets for you inside of Canva. Next is Descript. Descript is, again, another easy to use video editing tool. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need hours of going through and taking courses. You can jump in and start doing it and start editing videos in a way that's never been done before, using words as the way to edit video as well as audio. Lastly, ChatGPT, bringing in the anchor leg on this tech stack within our content creation is ChatGPT. It was really hard to put it in here because it fits many checkboxes, not just in the content creation, but in the business and the operations aspect of things as well. It's terrific for brainstorming. It's terrific for analyzing documents. It's terrific for giving you summaries. And it's also terrific. We've been uncovering different ways to use it from a business intelligent aspect that allows you to walk into meetings with information at your fingertips that you would have normally not been able to recognize. So it's really good at pattern recognition. And those initial meetings, negotiations, you have some information that rather than walking in cold with zero information. So ChatGPT, AKA Eddie, as we call him around here, he's he, she, whatever it wants to be, is here to stay. Highly encourage anybody that's not scratching the surface to get started, because you will be left behind. All your competitors will be closer to the finish line because AI is where the future is at. Dave, did we miss anything else on this podcast episode about the tech stack that's worth noting?
I don't believe so, Rolando. Listen, thank you so much for sharing our special sauce here. You've done a great job selecting some of these applications for us, helping our team become more successful so that Global Tech can shine and be our industry leader.
Well, thank you. I wanted to share this after being in business and being in Global Tech for over 20 years. I'd love to see other small business, other folks getting their side hustle and turning those to real businesses. Turn those probabilities, instead of being a 50% success rate after 5 years, making that 75 or 85%. And I think some of these tools can help you increase your odds of being more successful than the current odds that the Small Business Administration has. Because a lot of these tools for folks starting out, they don't know where they should go. And at least if this could give you a pointing in the right direction so that you're using these tools in your enterprise or in your small business, this should help you be more successful. And that's what we want to do, is help other businesses be more successful at what they do. So if you want to nerd out a little more, maybe you want to hear more in depth about what are some other business strategies that can make you successful or that can give you a leg up. We know right now that hybrid and remote working is hot. It is a hot topic. And we have a lot more videos on this in our Circuit Loops website, as well as wherever you consume your podcast. We've got a series on remote work with guests like Steve Cadigan and Barbie Brewer and Rachel Cottom. All of these folks have provided valuable insights with information, research, and data that can help you get going on the remote work or establish successful programs around it. So Dave and I will join you in those episodes, and we will see you next time.